Hi everyone, it's funny when you're working through a practical series how little things pop up as you go. The one thing that's popped up here for me is that I normally share burial facts, and that helps me later on when I want to see who's in a plot, who's associated with the other burials in the plot, and maybe who doesn't have parents, and I can do all that in Family Historian. The next video is going to be on renaming files, and you can do that in Family Historian. You can also do it in Family Tree Maker 2019. Usual drill, if you want to see that video and get notifications, hit the subscribe button down below followed by the bell. Let's get started. I have a lot of Rootsmagic subscribers. Some have moved over to Family Historian and I see them in the Zoom user meetings that happen frequently. With these test projects, or as some people call them, play databases, I always import direct from Rootsmagic, so I'm working with exactly the same data for the purpose of video demonstrations. I want the Family Historian data to mirror the Rootsmagic data and then demonstrate the further possibilities within Family Historian. Another reason is I wanted to dispel all the fake news that goes on over in the Rootsmagic user forums about shared witness events. That only serves to stop people using a very useful feature in fear they might lose the data if they migrate to another platform like Family Historian. None of that's true, but it serves the company very well. The only moderation which appears to go on in the Rootsmagic users group is to delete truthful comments which reflect badly on the program. I began making extensive use of shared events when they were first introduced in Rootsmagic back in 2008. That was Rootsmagic version 4. What I didn't know back then is there would be little or no further development. The result of that is there's still no way to report shared events based on rules or search on them, so the feature just didn't become as useful as I had hoped. You will see Tom Holden commenting truthfully here in Rootsmagic users, and the person asking the question not very happy to discover the facts. Tom is a long-time Rootsmagic user who writes and offers SQL scripts to overcome many of the Rootsmagic weaknesses. However, those scripts are not like Family Historian plugins. In other words, they're not available for every user to use unless you install a database management program. If you're a Rootsmagic user, then also watch out for the truthful and factual comment of Jerry Bryan, who is another long-time Rootsmagic user. Sadly, the rest of the advice on that forum is very questionable at best and often misleads people. Those people are just trying to make a good job of their family history. Here is Rennie Zamora, who's Rootsmagic admin, confirming that searching on rules is just not possible. So Tom and Jerry are the only people on Rootsmagic forum whose comment I would trust. Tom doesn't comment very often now, but Jerry still comments occasionally. For me, I'm only happy I didn't back away from shared events like many Rootsmagic users did. I kept with them in the faith that someday they would be enhanced, they'd be improved, but I didn't realise I was going to have to move to another program to get that functionality. In Family Historian, I get all the shared witness search and reporting features I'd long wished for back in Rootsmagic. Family Historian provides this query for witnesses. All witness events are reported and I can sort on any column. You'll see here there's a lot of census shares with rules you would expect, like wife, daughter, son. I'm more interested in things like nephew, niece and even visitors. I've sorted here on roll and you can see I also have stepsons, so I can sort whichever way I want. My interest in these indirect relationships is especially do I know where they fit in and who they are. Later I'm going to show you a modified version of that query. I'm going to add parentage and I'm specifically interested in those stepdaughter, stepson, etc. where I don't have parents for them. That's all further research to be done. However, what I want to show you in this video is what I do with burials. When there's several people in a burial plot, I like to share those people because the plot itself, in other words, the family bought the grave, there's maybe several surnames in there, and the only association at the point of discovery between those people is the common plot. Those give me clues through marriages and different things that I can shoot off and do further research, and I'm especially interested where those people don't have parents, and you'll see all that in the modified query later. Here's a burial plot from Belfast City Cemetery, and you can see all the burial names are the same. Great. The burial plot has been purchased. There's no outlier names to speak of. In comparison, let's now look at this plot. 7 burials, which is unusual to begin with. 4 or 5 is usually the norm, but we can see here there's 4 infant burials in the plot. We can also see that out of the 7 burials we have 5 distinct surnames. All good research stuff. It's normal for the purchase of a grave to be prompted by a death when another family grave is full, so let's look at that in detail. John Smiley was the first burial in 1873, followed by a 14-year gap until the next burial in 1887. Let me add some approximated dates of birth here. Helps a little, but let me rearrange these in birth order and see what clues might unfold. It's a pretty good guess that Edward and Sarah Ann were husband and wife. Going by the surnames and approximated dates of birth, that marriage happened after civil registration, so that's something I need to be looking up. Was Sarah Ann the child of a 15-year-old Gertie Herbert? The ages could be wrong, and the marriage registration again will give me the clues that I need. So what about the Smiley, Bell and Barnes children? Taking the dates as seen, Edward and Sarah Ann would have been 40 years old when the first child was born. So is this possibly siblings of Sarah Ann by her maiden name and their children? Something we need to research. Again, these births and connections can hopefully be discovered through civil registration where the mother's maiden name is always recorded. Remember, the first burial in the plot was John Smiley, and Smiley's in my wife's line, so that's where my interest in this plot comes about. With 14 years passing between John's interment and the next burial, it's always possible the grave changed hands, although that wasn't very common. 1 grave, 7 burials and lots of research to be done. My point here is the only thing associating these 7 people is their very last place of residence, the grave. Okay, back to the main show. Let me show you how I record that data in Family Historian. I've entered John Smiley and what I know about him from the Belfast City Council website, including his last known address. I'm going to share his burial event with 6 other people to establish that link through the burial plot itself. I don't have to, but I'm going to begin with Elizabeth Bell as she was the next burial. I click on John's burial event and then the witness icon. When I click add, I get the option to add individuals. Let's look for Elizabeth. You also have the option here of adding a name only, but that person does not become part of your database. These will all turn out to be family members, I'm pretty sure of that, so I do want them in my database. So I select add and enter Bell Elizabeth in the filter. I want to select the most recent addition to my database, so I sort on the record number, which is usually abbreviated to RIN. Add her to the selected individuals, click OK. What I need to do now is select a role for Elizabeth. There's no family link at present, so I use the role Shared Burial. I close the witnesses section and let's have a look at Elizabeth. Elizabeth has no parents, siblings or children. Essentially she's orphaned at present in the project, but really she's not. I click on the witness icon and you can see she shares a burial with John Smiley. I have added the rest of the burials in that plot and you can see here how they're all associated through the fact they share that burial plot. I said I would show you the modified query and here is the results set. I've just dropped some columns and rearranged the layout to suit my own needs. You can do this with any built-in query in Family Historian. If you're trying to add something and get into difficulties, there's various write-ups in the help file in the knowledge base. If you're still stuck, then go visit the Family Historian user group on the web and search out witness events or even just ask the question. The way I have this laid out is the first column here is the fact principal, the fact owner in other words. The next column is the fact date, then the event, next is the individual who shares that event, then the role of the person sharing the event, their life dates, their record number, or RIN as it's often abbreviated, and lastly the parents of the person sharing the event. Naturally it's those entries who do not have parents that I need to continue researching further. Firstly I'm going to filter on burial, and here we have all the shared burials. Let's look down and see if we can find our John. And here he is, with the 6 people sharing that burial event. All very useful. You can see I have parents for one of them, so I'm starting to build out that family. I'm going to filter now on nephew, and you can see that we have numerous entries and many without children. Let me look at this first entry, and that might better help show my system of sharing witness events to tie people where the family relationship is still to be discovered. I can see Catherine has quite a few events, but I don't see a marriage fact. I can see here that her timeline facts are enabled as the icon's highlighted blue, but I don't see any family facts. If I click on the show parents, I can confirm that there's no parentage for Catherine. I can see there is a will involved and sourced. I can confirm in the note Catherine was a spinster and that probate was granted to Joseph Mulholland. What I would like to see is where Ambrose Bettridge fits in. On the death fact you can see the share witness icon, and you can also see there's a media file attached. Let's view that media and see if all becomes clear. I click on it and it's Catherine's death registration in PDF format. Do note that I have 2 check boxes ticked here to include source and citation media, which is very useful. I double click on the PDF, double click again, and here we are. Catherine Gracie, a spinster, 68 years, retired school teacher, her cause of death. But look at the informant. Here is where Ambrose Bettridge fits in. He was the informant on Catherine's death and also noted as the nephew of Catherine. You can see my file naming format at work here. I hope that has helped demonstrate how powerful a research tool shared witness facts can be. As I said earlier, I'm so happy I entered them back in Rootsmagic days and kept the faith they would repay that investment. They're repaying that investment now by helping me push my research in all directions. Just one thing before leaving Catherine's facts. She was noted as being 68 years old at the time of her death, and I always like to enter such data as a sanity check. Back in Rootsmagic days, I created one of a very few custom facts and just called it recorded age, and here it is. I said everything faithfully transfers over from Rootsmagic using the direct import, but in Family Historian I have no need for that fact now. I noticed that Family Historian allows you to enter the age on any fact, and age is fully supported in GEDCOM. On last week's Zoom user group chat I got a better explanation of how that works. At present all of these ages in parentheses are being calculated by the program from the approximated birth date. If I go to the death fact and enter the age as it was recorded, you will see that changes. Without the parentheses, I know that is an actual age from a document, and you could possibly have several of these, typically marriage, census and death facts. That leaves me with some more clean-up work to do in Family Historian of my old Rootsmagic habits, but I'm sure it will be worth it in the end. I think I'm about done now, and I hope that's been of some help to you and the way you do your own research. One final note, I am not a trained genealogist. I would term myself more of a family and social historian. I adopt practices which have helped me research over the years and tried not to stray too far from accepted standards. That being said, my database has many mistakes and bad practices from my early years, and you may have seen some in this presentation. Please don't mimic them. Anyway, thanks for watching. That's it. Another wrap, and hopefully we'll get this little series finished and wrapped up soon. I always get a lot out of watching how other people work, and hopefully you do the same. In the meantime, why not check out these videos to the left? And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see other videos and get notifications of future videos. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.